General Luigi Cadorna was the Italian Chief of Staff from 1914 until November 1917 and was a proper moron regarding military operations. You know, because launching 12 battles of the same river will instantly cause Italy's success in World War I, especially if you think morale is the most important part of the military and that executing men will instantly improve that morale. Cadorna was as harsh to his men as he was incompetent. He was so bad that he lost battles to Konrad von Hotzendorf, one of the most infamous and idiotic military leaders of all time. This will be our point of divergence for this alternate history scenario. After the First Battle of the Isonzo River, Cadorna is fired for losing to Austro-Hungarian Chief of Staff Konrad von Hotzendorf. So the question is, who will replace Luigi Cadorna as Italian Chief of Staff? Our candidates include Prince Emanuele Filiberto, the Duke of Aosta, who became known as the Undefeated Duke, Pietro Frugoni, commander of the Second Army, and Armando Diaz, the man who actually replaced Cadorna in our timeline after the disaster of the 12th Battle of the Isonzo River, aka the Battle of Caporetto. In our timeline, once Diaz became the Chief of Staff, he immediately organized the Italian army to resist the Austro-Hungarian offensive at the battles of Monte Grappa and the First Battle of Piave River, which he would do successfully, much to the disappointment and jealousy of Luigi Cadorna. In this alternate timeline, there is better Italian army morale without Cadorna constantly sending men into the slaughter of the Isonzo River and canceling leaves while executing men. Armando Diaz takes advantage of Italy's artillery production and effectiveness in order to bolster the Italian front against the Austro-Hungarians. However, Austria-Hungary still has Svetozar Boroyevich Bonbonio, the Lion of the Isonzos, on their front lines against the Italians. The Italian breakthroughs and victories come sooner in this alternate timeline, and it's possible that Austria-Hungary collapses in 1917 as the Central Powers must divert forces to Italy as the Kerensky offensive attempts to repeat the success of the Brusilov offensive the year prior. It's really unknown how this alternate Kerensky offensive would go and how it would impact the Bolshevik movement in Russia, but that's not what this video is about, therefore we really don't care. In Macedonia, the Entente is able to push further against the Austro-Hungarians, but not against the Bulgarians, and there still results in high casualties. Germany would send more troops to the Italian front to help save Austria-Hungary in this alternate timeline. There are many different moving pieces involving the Eastern Front, Bolshevik Revolution, and German Spring Offensive that I won't get into in this video because we're focused primarily on Italy. If we assume that Austria-Hungary drops out of the war in late 1917, then the war ends in early 1918 and the US does not have as many forces in Europe, and therefore Wilson doesn't get a big seat at the Treaty of Versailles and is instead replaced by the Italians. Italy has a better negotiating position at Versailles due to being one of the main causes for Austria-Hungary's surrender, and Italy gains territory that they had wanted in our timeline. Another pro is that Woodrow resegregation Wilson is sidelined, and anything that causes that dorkwad more embarrassment is always a good thing. Anyway, this means that Mussolini does not rise to power. Italy has a slightly better economic state, and fascism does not rise in Italy, at least not as we know it. There were many grievances in Italy in the 1920s, but Italy is a big winner from the Great War in this alternate timeline, and those grievances are under different circumstances and conditions. Without Mussolini's march on Rome, Hitler is not empowered to go for the beer hall putsch. Germany goes down a separate path without Italian fascism. There's definitely going to be some form of ultra-nationalist far-right government in Germany due to the interwar conditions of the state, but it would be different from what we got in our timeline. Either the Nazis rise later in Germany, or a completely different ideology and form of government comes to power. It's also possible that in interwar Germany, the communists could try to come to power and be taken out by various Freikorps and other paramilitary organizations. The monarchy under Wilhelm III could come back into power despite the Treaty of Versailles, or a civil war between far-right and far-left elements could always break out in Germany and draw all parts of the political spectrum into the civil war. These are many possibilities where I'll leave Germany in this scenario. In Spain, in this alternate timeline, the Civil War goes relatively the same as it did for us, as the nationalists weren't reliant on German and Italian aid in our timeline and would have won regardless. In an alternate World War II, Italy is on the side of the Allies, and this alternate war could be against either a fascist alliance between Japan, Spain, and alternate Germany, or against communism, depending on how Austria-Hungary's surrender impacts Russia and its path, as well as how things go in the Balkans. What do you think would have happened had the idiotic Luigi Cadorna not been the Italian Chief of Staff in World War I? Write in the comments, and thank you for watching.